Hey everybody, welcome to part 24 of building the R2-D2 from Fanhome. Now in this video we are going to be covering stages 91, 92, 93, and 94. Okay, so this is a significant part of the build right here. We are really getting close to the end now. This is fantastic. Okay, so we got parts for the middle leg. We're going to finish R2's middle leg. We're going to assemble all the legs to the body. That's going to be a huge thing. This is the battery pack and the battery charger. So we'll actually start to be able to charge those batteries. I'll show you how all of that works. So this is really cool. This is one of the circuit board cases, like the case that goes around one of the circuit boards. All the electronics will get plugged into that. And then this is the main board. I think it's essentially R2-D2's brain. So we'll be getting all that put together as well. All right, so let's get started on it. Here's the magazine for issue 91. So it looks like they're doing some more prequel stuff here. There's Obi-Wan. Okay, wow, this is interesting. So look how short this magazine is. There's only 2 pages right here of this filler that they put in all these magazines, because the rest of this is all instructions. So that just goes to show you how much stuff is going to be done. So the whole center foot section is what we're going to be working on. Look how many parts are included in this stage. It's crazy. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to be putting a sensor in his foot, the switches, that little bump and go switch type of thing in there. Looks like there's some more parts. There's a caster that goes in there because he doesn't have a motorized wheel in the middle. It's just a caster that'll allow him to do those 360 turns. There's some more assembly of the foot, the middle foot right there. That's where that metal piece comes back into play. Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on in here. Lots of screws. Yeah, there it is, and that's what it looks like when it's complete. And then here, we're going to be putting on the legs onto the frame. So we'll actually be bringing these legs back out, which is great. They've been laying around for months. Finally get to do something with those. And then look at that, see? Wow, that's so cool. So we'll be putting those legs on. And the bottom panel also gets put in here. And then that's what it's going to look like when it's all done. That is crazy. That is really cool. All right. Finally a good significant stage to work on. Here are the parts that we get for stage 91, and there is a lot of parts for this stage. It's fantastic. I finally feel like I got my money's worth in parts for a change. So this is the bottom part of R2's middle leg, and then this part here is going to house this really nice caster right here. It's got a really nice rubber wheel right there. We also have some wire wraps. I think this is for the wires for the outer legs, and this is a tool to put this hub on. And we finally got the second hub. The first one we got, I think it was like the first or second stage of parts. I mean, it's crazy. They sent that way, way early. I don't know why they did that, because I've had to hold on to that now for two years, I guess. So we finally got the second one. Here's a wrench. This is a sensor that goes on the bottom of R2's middle leg, which I'm assuming goes in here. It's the same sensor that we saw on the side legs that keeps him from falling off of edges. There's some hole plugs here, a couple of brackets, couple of sets of wires here, and a whole bunch of screws and washers and nuts. So this has got a lot going on. All right, well, let's get started. Okay, so apologies ahead of time if you're hearing some noise in the background. It's the fan. I have it blowing directly on me. It's really hot in this room. It's the end of June, and I've got the studio lights on, which create a lot of heat. So yeah, I have to have the fan on. Okay, now let's go ahead and get started on this. So we're going to put these switches in, and this is for that kind of bump and go feature that is on the front of R2's feet. So if he bumps into something, he'll back away. So we're going to start with the black lead. There's a black one and a red one here. The black one is the right, because this is the front of his foot. So this is going to go this way. Now the open part of the switch is going to go towards the end over here, and they go on these little pins right there into those holes that are right here. So let's go ahead and put these in like this. Line those up. Let's see, do they snap in? Oh, they do. They kind of snap in place there. Okay, and then let's put this other one in. And once again, the open part of the switch goes on this way towards the edge here. So we'll put those on. Okay, and ah, nice. Be gentle with them. See, oh, that one's not in all the way. Okay, so that's how they look. This one wants to slip out a little bit, but there is a bracket that's going to go on here. Alright, so we got those in place. Next, we're going to work on this sensor now. So we take this cable that came with this set of parts, and you'll notice there's two different size plugs here. We're going to take the smaller one. We're going to plug it into this board. There's these pins that we always see in there. They kind of favor one side, so just line them up with the holes. So it's going to go like this. And just push it in place. There we go. Kind of clicks in place just like that. And then we'll bring this piece back in. And now this is going to go this way, so the clear one goes on this side here. Alright, so we're just going to put this down like this. You'll line up the hole, the screw hole right here. And then what is this? A 2.3 by 6 millimeter screw is going to hold this in place. So we'll go ahead and put this in. So of course you don't want to screw this down too tight. You don't want to break, you don't want to crack the board. So just put it in there snug enough. Alright, so that's how that looks. Okay, so now we're going to put this bracket on to hold everything together. So this little post here goes in behind these wires here. So this one we have to kind of push this way. And the black one kind of goes this way as well. And then that post goes in behind here. Doesn't go into anything, but that's how they show it on the instructions. And then these holes here match the little screw holes underneath there. So we're going to use 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws to hold this in place. The same screws that we used to put that sensor in. Let's see if I can get this in here. There we go. Alright, and then there's another one that goes right there. Okay, so that's in place. And then we're going to take this one and do the exact same thing. Put this pin on this side of the wires. I don't know if it really matters, but that's the way they show it in here. And then once again, we put the 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws to hold that in place. Alright, so that is now in place, and we got the switches just like that. You hear them clicking. That's for the little bump and go thing on the front. Alright, so now we're going to start working on the caster. So we'll keep this piece out for now. We'll bring in this caster, and you'll notice that there is a nut right here. So we're going to match up this nut to this one, this shaped inset right here. It's like this. Okay, then we're going to flip this over like that. Okay, and then we take the flat washer that goes on here. Then we take the split washer, and then the nut to hold all of this together. Okay, we'll get all this on. Okay, and let's make sure that that nut is still in its proper space. And then we take this, they give you this cool little wrench right here. So we'll use this to put this on. I was wondering how they were going to do this middle foot. I thought they were going to have like a little ball roller or something. But this works just fine. So this will allow R2 to, you know, spin whichever direction when he's moving around, because the outer wheels are what has all the motors. Alright, so that's ready to go. Alright, so next we're going to start working around with some wires here. So we get to bring this piece back in that we got on the last parts pack. So we're going to take all these wires and feed them through the hole on this thing. So let's feed these through here. Like this. Let's see, is there just two plugs? It looks like it. Okay, so let's drag these through here. Alright. Okay, now we're going to bring the left side of the foot in. That's this piece. So, you know, you have to kind of keep track of which is the left or the right. Just remember that R2's foot leans back like this. This is the front of it right here. So now you'll notice that there is this little trough right here these wires have to go through that trough. So let me move this up a little bit. Now I think this is going to turn around this way. Alright, but let's go ahead and let's see. Let's go and put these through. Let's see, which way are we going to do this? Well, I guess we can go this way. Alright, make these wires go out the bottom. And then we'll put these through this little trough right here. Okay. And then this piece has got to go on here. And they'll match up, the holes will match up. You'll see what I'm talking about here. They'll match up. Now you got to make sure you're not pinching these wires. That's always the tricky part. Just making sure we're not pinching wires in here. Oh gosh. Alright. Let's get that on here. Let's get this on here. Okay, and then these holes and these lugs match. And then so do these two, and then these two here. So now let's just make sure that no wires are getting pulled by making sure that we can pull those through and everything's good. Alright, now to hold this in place, we're going to use 2 by 6 millimeter black screws. These are narrower than the ones we used to put those brackets on for the switches near the front. Okay, so we'll get that in place. And there's one more that goes right there. Next, we're going to take these silver details, and they got this little kind of L-shaped connector here. They go in this little notch right here. So the little detail on his foot, make sure they're pushed in all the way because they fit a kind of snug. There we go. Got to make sure they're flat. So there's that one. Let's see, where's the other one? Right here. Same thing. Goes on this little notch. Wow, that one fit in really nice. Okay. So there's those. Now we're going to take this as the bumper piece that we had from the last parts pack, and this rod, and that goes through these holes right here. Like this. Alright, so now we got to put the rod in this lug right here. So let's see, does it go this way? Looks like that goes on the outside like that. Oh, okay, that fits right in there. That's nice. Okay, now the tricky part is getting this half on. So let's see if we can do this. So we got to get this rod to go inside this lug right here, and then also try to match up these other lugs. Okay, so let's see if we can get this on. Hopefully you guys, I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me see if I can angle it better. Okay. Let's see. There we go. That rod in there. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay, that's very nice. Ooh, very cool. Alright, well that wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. Alright, I thought that was going to be a problem. Okay, so now we got to screw all this together. So we're going to use the 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws. And there's going to be, these go down in these holes here. This is kind of a long way to go in there. Okay, we'll get those in place. And then there is 6 total on here. So there's 3 here and 2 more here. So let me get all those put in place. Next, we're going to attach this bottom. So we're just going to pull these wires through here, which is good because that makes sure that you don't have any crimped in there. So let's kind of pull the excess wires out of here, through here. Okay, let's see, the black ones have a little more slack, and so does this red one. There we go. Alright, so we're going to match the bottom here to those lugs. Let me make sure these are pulled through. Okay, there we go. Alright, now these get screwed in with the same 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws right here. And I think we're going to test those sensors. Alright, so let me get 3 more, and then that should finish this part of it. Alright, so I've been testing the sensor on the front of his foot, and I'm not sure what's going on. So I hooked this up exactly like they tell you. They say to go back to stage 53 and hook this all up the way you did there. And then when you turn it on, you got this green light, and the green light indicates that R2 these sensors, he thinks that he's on a flat surface, which is fine. And then when you go to the edge of a table, or if you put your hand away, it should make this turn off. But it's not doing anything when I put my hand in front of it. So I don't know, I think the problem is I took the whole thing apart again, the foot apart, and I took this sensor out, and it works fine when it's not installed. But once you install it, it stops working again. I think it's because, see how flat these things are? They're not sticking out far enough. And then you also got this ridge, and those are as far out as they'll go because of the way that's installed. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I don't think it's going to be a problem, because as long as the green light is on like we see here, that means that he thinks he's on a flat surface, and that's fine. I don't ever plan on driving him to the edge of a table anyway, so hopefully that won't be an issue. But that is kind of a problem, that these don't stick out far enough for them to activate right. So I don't know if anybody else has had that problem with theirs, but or maybe they just didn't notice. I don't even know, because most people aren't going to drive their R2 to the edge of a table. So anyway, hopefully that won't be an issue. So I guess we'll find out when we get everything all built. Alright, so moving on now, we're going to fill these holes. So we get these two loose plugs. This one's got an angle to it, like you can see here. And then this one's flat. Alright, so we're going to go and put the flat one in right here. It's got a flat hole in there. See if I can get it in there. There we go. Here, we'll use this wrench to kind of push it in. It's a little loose. Hopefully it stays in. This is the angled one, so we just match up this angle here. Let me see. Try to get that on there straight. Oh, it's even got a little ledge right there. I don't know if you can see it. See how it's flat to match up this flat edge? That's very cool. Okay, so we'll go and push that in. Nice. I like these hole plugs. It's nice that they hide the screw holes. Okay, and then we have these ones here. Now I already cut these off. These are the ones that were on that sprue. So let me go ahead and cut this last one off of here. Go this way. Okay. There we go. I like the soft rubber that these are made of. Alright, and then we'll match up the angles with this as well. Let me see. Guess we'll start up here. These are all the same, since they are the same angle. And make sure I get these in straight, which this one is not. Take that out of there. Alright, there we go. I want to make sure these are in right. I have those floaters in my right eye, and it really makes it hard for me to see these kinds of things. Okay, that went in. These are kind of loose. I hope they don't fall out. I don't really want to glue them in case you ever have to take the leg apart again. You can pop these back out. But, okay, there's that one. This right here. This one's a little off. There we go. I keep hitting, you can hear this clicking. That's a really cool thing that they have right there. Alright, and then this is the last one here. Line it up, push it in. Look at that, that looks nice. It gives it a nice finished look. Alright, very cool. Alright, so now this is pretty cool. We're bringing the leg back out. We haven't worked on the legs in quite a while. So we are going to start doing some cleanup of the wires here. So they do provide these wire wraps. So we're going to try to get these wires wrapped here. Get everything going. Okay, I guess we'll start right about here. It says start right around the shoulder. I don't know what the best way is to put these on, but I almost would rather have had them give us some shrink wrap and just use a blow dryer on it. But we're just going to wrap this around like this. And then we'll just keep on going, and I'll show you what this looks like once we got it all wrapped, because you're just going to work your way all the way down. Okay, so this is not going to be the easiest thing to show, but we're going to attach the left leg to the body now. So, by the way, I put the wrap here on both legs. So those are both done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the left leg. We're going to start with this left leg. Got to feed these wires through this hole in this hub right here. All right, so let's get these in here. Like this. Okay. Alright, and then once we got these fed in here, see, this short one's giving me a hard time here. There we go. Alright, so now that's in there. So now we are starting with the left leg. This is the back of R2. It's got the sensors. Now we got to match up the holes on this hub right here, and you'll notice these things sticking up. Those match up to these little notches right in here. So now we got to put this in, make sure we're not pinching any wires like this. Alright, and now make sure no wires are being pinched. Well, that's quite the thing. Alright, so let me get this screwed together. Let me get in there so I can show you what's going on. Okay, so we're going to screw these in with the 2.5 by 8 millimeter screws, and you'll notice there's a split washer on there, so you got to put one of those on. And these all come with this parts pack. Now you got to make sure you don't drop the washer down in there like I did before. This is like take 2 here. Alright, so let me get this screwed in. Alright. Okay, and then there's 3 more that go in there, and make sure you put that split washer on all of those screws. Okay, so that is now all screwed in right there. So we got to do the same thing over on this other side now for the other leg. Well, I'll tell you what, this is heavy. It's getting pretty heavy, pretty unwieldy too, I might add. Okay, so let's see, how am I going to do this? Let's see. Alright, so we got to feed these wires in once again. Get these ones out of the way from the other leg. Alright, so let's try to get these fed in here. Boy, there's going to be a lot of wires in this thing once it's all said and done. But hopefully everything works. That's the scary part. Is it going to work once I get it in there? Okay, so we feed all that in. And then just like the other one, we match up those notches, don't crimp any wires, just like that, and then we use the same screws and the same split washers to put all that together. Okay, so you want to make sure you put those screws in good and tight because there's a lot of stress on that section, so put those screws in really tight. Okay, so now we're going to feed these wires that we just fed through earlier. These are actually going to go through this hole on this support frame that we had earlier. It's going to go through there. So let's get these down in here, and hopefully I don't keep bumping the camera. Alright, so let's feed them down there. Boy, these wires are going to be crazy when we start plugging all this in. You gotta make sure everything's fed in the right way too, because it's mainly, I think, the concern for this is when R2-D2's head turns, you don't want it pulling on everything. You don't want it pulling on the wires. So, alright, let's see if we can get this in here. This wire wrap makes it a little stiffer. Ooh, boy. Get that in there. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't even see what's going on. It's so hard to film this kind of thing. I knew this was going to be difficult. Okay. Oh, there we go. Alright, let's see if we can get this side now. Gotta be careful of these plugs. You don't want to be yanking and pulling on them or messing anything up on the connections of these. Let's Get this in here. They like to get caught on things when you're trying to put it all in here. Okay. I just hope there's no wires crimped in the legs. Alright, that looks like it might be pretty good there. Okay, alright, got that in there. Okay, so this is interesting. We're going to build a little tool right here. So this piece goes into here. Just push it all the way in, and you're going to take a 2.6 by 8 millimeter screw and just put this together. Very interesting that you actually build a little tool for this. Alright, and I'll show you what we use this for. Alright, so this little hub piece is what's going to go in there. Now you'll notice there's a little notch right here. That's for this little piece to go in there. So these are metal. Now we get two of these, of course, one for each leg. As I think I mentioned earlier in the video, one of these was sent on stage 3, I think. So I don't know why they sent this so early in the build. I mean, as I mentioned before, they send you parts that you're not going to use for months and even years later. I've never understood why they do that. There's no logic in the way they do some of this stuff. So I've been holding on to one of these pieces for about 2 years now. Alright, well anyway, let's get this notch into this notch, like this. Let me get that put in there. And then this thing here is to lock that in. It's so, look at that, see, it goes in there and then you just turn it clockwise. And it should be like that, so that there is, let's see, is this in all the way? Oh, there we go, it clicks in. Look at that, that is so cool. Alright, let's do that for the other side. Alright, so here's the other side, and once again we'll match up this notch with that notch. I will say that it is satisfying to finally use these pieces that have been sitting around for so long. See, this one here, let me see. It almost goes in better counterclockwise. Wonder if that's how it's supposed to go. The other one went in clockwise. This one seems to go in counterclockwise to lock in. But it didn't click. But that's where it stops, because it has these things going in that direction. And it does look straight right there. Oh, there we go. See, yeah, that one goes counterclockwise. That's really weird. Alright, well that looks very nice. Okay, so now we flip R2 over on his top. So the bottom part is facing us now, and there's a couple CDs down there counterbalancing him. So let's see, we're going to put this bottom panel on now. So this red wire is going to get fed through this space, and then this power wire, it gets fed through here. So let's go and do that now. Feed this one here and this one here. Alright, and then this goes on. We've got to align the holes like this. So these holes here get aligned to the metal frame. These screws here are already in from previously. Let me see if I can move the camera up. These ones we did earlier. Alright, so let's go ahead and let me move this up just a bit. Okay, so let's try to put this on. Now these are going to be the 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws that holds this in. So let me just go and start on this side over here. Like this. And it's starting to rain, so if you hear rain hitting the skylights, apologies. It seems to be on and off today. Okay, there we go. Alright, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more, so let me get those put on. Okay, so I got all of those put in now, and at this point we can go ahead and screw in these. These are those set screws for the battery compartment. We can go ahead and start screwing these in now too. So we'll go and put these in. These are the ones that they don't pop out. They stay in place, which is nice. If I can get in there. There we go. Alright, this is so cool, seeing all of this come together. Very, very cool. Alright, so there we go. Alright, I think next we're going to work on the middle leg. Okay, so now we are ready to install the middle foot. So we will tuck these wires down in here. And then you'll notice that on this plate we got these little posts that are sticking up, those pins. Those match up with those holes right there. So let's go ahead and tuck this in and put this on like that. Let's see. Okay, ooh, nice. That fits very good. Okay, now I gotta flip this over. Let's see, can I do this on camera or should I just do it off camera? Well, we'll try it. It's probably not going to be the easiest thing to do this. Oh boy, it probably would help to have a helping hand. Let me get these CDs out of the way that we're supporting that. The old Fleetwood Mac. Let me see. Gosh, it's hard to grip this thing. It's very awkward. Okay, here we go. Ooh, man. This is getting incredibly heavy. Really, really heavy. Oh, it's nice to have that third leg on there because that makes this so much easier to stand up. Alright, so we got to make sure that that stays in place. Alright, now, let me see. Let me turn this around. It's just going to have to be... Yeah, let me turn this around so I can show you what happens down in there. Okay, so now I got this switched around. So you'll notice these 4 holes right here. There's one there, 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 and there. So we're going to use these 2.3 by 6 millimeter countersunk screws, just like that. And that is going to be what is going to attach that middle leg. Now, you're probably not going to be able to see what's going on down here, but let me get that screw in there. Okay. Screw it in place. Okay. Alright, so there's the first one. You can see it right there. So let me get the other 3 right there, there, and there. Alright. Okay, wow. Look at all that. We finally have R2-D2's legs now in place. Ah, that looks so good. Very, very nice. Yeah, this is great. Whew, man. That's just crazy. Wow, that's a lot for just one stage. That was just one stage. Oh my gosh. I think the other ones are a lot quicker though. Alright, I am so glad to get that part done. That was exhausting. Here's the magazine for issue 92. Alright, so just some more stuff going on here with prequels it looks like. Just going to skim through a lot of this because, like I said, I don't really read any of this. Ooh, that's neat. Look at that robot. That is really neat looking. And let me see what we got going on over here. Oh, that's cute. Look at that robot. So battery box and charger. So we're going to finally start to charge these batteries. Like I said in the last video, I hope that my batteries work. They've been sitting around for like a year and a half. Because of some delays in parts, they ended up sitting there a lot longer than I was expecting. So hopefully they'll charge properly. But we do have the battery box here, and then that's the charger. So we'll try to go through here, and oh, this is cool. So look at that. This gives you all the information about those batteries. And I'll show you a little thing that I just wrote for the batteries. I showed this in the last video, but it's very specific which batteries you get for this R2-D2. So you got to be very... It's got to be very specific on here, and they show you all of them right here. It looks like they're using the same brand I got, which was Ultrafire. That's where I got my R2-D2 batteries from, was from Ultrafire. But I'll show you those, and we can get working on the batteries. Here are the parts that we get for stage 92. So now we're going to start getting ready to get the batteries ready to go. So we get the USB cable here, which will connect into this. This is the charger. And it will also tell us how much energy is in the battery. I'll show you how this works in just a second here. And then here is the battery box. So you got the little lid that comes off, and here you can see how the battery's going. You'll notice how they don't all go, alternating, like positive, negative, backward and forth. You can see how these go in here differently. So these are definitely a different kind of battery than most of us are used to. Now, these are the batteries we're going to use. Let's see, here it is right here. Now, I mentioned this in the last video, and these batteries are very unusual. They're larger than a standard AA, but they look like a AA. Now, I got these from Ultrafire batteries. I went online and got these from there, and this is the stats you're going to need. So here, I wrote them down. So you're going to need 18 650 batteries, the button top, and it's got to be the button top, that's meaning this part right here, because some of these are flat top. They look like this on the top. You need that extra millimeter or two to fit inside here, otherwise it won't fit right. So it's going to fit in there. And then also these are unprotected batteries. You need unprotected ones, meaning that some of these batteries have circuitry built in to keep them from blowing up when you're charging them. These don't have that, and the reason they don't is because this already has it built in. The protection is built in here. So you don't want protected batteries in a protected battery case. They're going to not work. So make sure you get the unprotected kind. You're going to need 2600 to 2800 milliamps and 3.7 volts, and that's what these are, 2600 and 3.7 volts. All right, and you're going to need 6 of them. And they're not cheap either. They're like 10 bucks a piece. So you're going to spend about 60 bucks for these. All right, so let me show you what we do with this piece right here. All right, so this doubles as a tester as well as a charger. So you're going to plug the battery in. Now you can make sure you get the polarity right, the negative and the positive. So we'll plug this in like this. All right, and this shows you what the current voltage is in here. You can see these are kind of low. So now let's go and plug this in. I already got this plugged into a, let's see, where is the connector? It's over here on this side. Plug this in. All right, and then that is going to start charging this. And you'll just leave it in here until this says full. When it says full, then you're good to go, and you got to do each one of these separately. You got to do each battery separate. All right, so we'll just go and let that charge. I will say I wish this cord was a little longer. You can see here it's very, very short. All right, so I'm glad I caught these batteries in time, because they said if you have 3.3 volts or less, or if this thing says low, they don't recommend you using those batteries. And since these batteries have been sitting around a while, I was concerned about that. Of course, this is only one battery, so hopefully these all work just fine. All right, so I'm going to let this charge, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's full. Here's the magazine for issue 93. Picture Perfect Planets. All that CGI stuff, it looks like. All kinds of information on R2 here. The star of the show. Giants of Industrial Robotics. Wow. Yeah, that's neat. It's amazing what those can do. All right, so mounting for the electronics. So we're going to have the case for one of the circuit boards that we've had laying around for a long time. We'll actually have a case to put those in now. And there's a bracket that fits down inside R2-D2's frame. Could be interesting trying to film that. I'll see if I'll try to do my best filming this once we start working on the inside of him. No guarantees, but I'm going to try to do my best getting the camera to see what we're working on, because it's going to be a little tricky, especially in the next video, because that's when we're going to start hooking up all these wires. But at least we have a nice little case to put that circuit board in, so they're nice and protected in there. So it doesn't look like there's too much to do in it, but at least we're getting the electronics installed. Here are the parts that we get for stage 93. So this is the battery bracket, the battery holder bracket. And then this piece, I think, is for the batteries to attach. And then this is a circuit board case. One of the circuit boards goes in here. So, alright, so we'll go ahead and get started on all of that. Alright, so it's time to put in this bracket, battery bracket here. So we got to make sure that all these wires are out of the way. And these ones here, let's make sure that those go out the side. So let's put this in. And you got to line up the holes on the bracket itself to these holes down here. And the screws that are sticking out, those are going to come through that hole, those holes there. Alright, so let's try to make sure we get all of this in just right. Make sure the wires aren't getting stuck in there. Okay. This put in just the right spot. There we go, just like that. It's got this little angle to it so you can get to the batteries easy. And then we have these 2.5 by 4 millimeter screws. They're these really small silver ones that got kind of a large head on them. So we'll start with this right here. Put it in there. Okay, and then there's 3 more, 1 on each corner. So let me get that done. Okay, so there it is, all in place. You can see how it's kind of at an angle down there. That's because you can access those through that little flap that we had down in this area over here. Alright, so that's very cool. Okay, so next we're going to put the circuit board into the case. So on here you'll notice we got these little bumps here, these little lugs I guess you could call these. Now we're going to align them with the holes going this way. So we're going to have the circuit board so that you got this row of connectors at the top. So we put this in here, and that one goes in here. Okay, and then this lid goes on like this, matching up all of the connectors like you see here. And then we're going to use 4 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws. Oddly enough, they don't give you enough of these screws, so you're going to have to dig into your part stash. I think I only had 3 left, and you're going to need 4, let's see, 5, 6 of them. Alright, so there's 3 more that go on that part. Okay, so that is now all in place. So next we're going to take this piece, and we are going to align these posts right here with these 2 holes. This goes on here like this, just like that. And then once again 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws to hold this in place. There we go. Okay, and then I'll put 1 more on that side. Okay, so now back to the main body here. We got to make this fit down in here. So this part goes towards the back of R2, and this part right here has got to go in between these 2 metal bars here. And there's holes that match up where you'll screw it together. And I don't know if this wire that for the power cable goes on the front or the back. I'm assuming it goes up front. Okay, so we gotta line up these holes back here, and they're going to use these 2.5 by 4 millimeter silver screws, these really tiny ones right there. So that's going to go back here, and that's what's going to hold that bracket in place. Okay, so get that in there. Alright, and 1 more goes on that side, and then that will hold that in place. Okay, so I was looking ahead at stage 94, and I was noticing this piece that we just put on, they don't have us screwing this in yet. And I don't understand why, because it's loose, as you can see here. And the thing is we're going to have to attach something back here, and it's going to be kind of fiddly. And this is going to be loose. I don't know why they're not having us fasten this on. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the screws in for this, because I know what's going to happen. They're going to have us do this near the end, and I'm not going to remember what screws we used for that. And I'm going to be trying to search around for them. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these in now. So I'm going to use the same 2.3 by 4 millimeter screws. Let me see, how am I going to get in here? I guess I can go this way. And let's see, match up the holes right there. It's going to be a little tricky to get those in. I'm assuming they're going to make us screw that in. I can't imagine them having us leave that loose. Gosh, I am so sorry. I got my hand right in the way there. You can kind of see it right here. Yeah, it's going to be hard to show you. So apologies for my hand. Big old hand being right in the way there. But, alright, so there we go. And I'm going to put another one over here, and that'll secure that, because that just doesn't make any sense to leave that loose. Okay, so that looks much better. And this is much more solid in here now. You can see that it doesn't jiggle around, because we're going to be locking some things down on those 2 holes on the next stage. So there we go, that completes stage 93. Here's the magazine for issue 94. Picture Perfect Planets Part 2. Alright, so I guess this was a 2-part article on here. Let's see. Some more stuff going on here with R2. Robotic hands. Oh, you know, that's really cool. I have seen these. This gentleman here, he's got a replacement hand. He can actually play the keyboard. That's fantastic. That kind of science is incredible when they can do that kind of stuff to help people out. Very, very cool. Let's see. Okay, so microcontroller unit MCU. This is the main board. I think they call this the brains of R2. This is pretty much the board that does it all. It looks like the board is already inside the case. I thought we were going to have to put that inside there, but it looks like it's already installed, so that's good. See all these, there's a lot of plugins. We're going to be plugging in a lot of stuff in there that's coming up in the next stage, so that's going to be very interesting. Yeah, once again, I'm not sure how I'm going to film all that, but we'll see what we can do. All right, this is cool. Getting really close to the end. Here are the parts that we get for stage 94. So this is pretty cool. This is that really big circuit board. This is the brain of R2-D2. It's already in the case, so they probably wanted to make sure nothing happened to this. So they went ahead and assembled it ahead of time. Here you can see that everything's labeled, so that's where we're going to be plugging in all kinds of crazy stuff on here. That's going to be very interesting. I think we're going to do that in the next parts pack. And I have no idea how I'm going to film that. It's going to be very difficult to show. We got some more screws, which is great. It's always nice to get more hardware here. And then we have a couple of these little, they look like little brackets or something. I'm not sure what these are for. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, so we're going to attach these clips. Now you got to make sure the clip, the open part of it, is on this side. So it's going to face the right of this whole thing. So there's the plug-in. So you want it to go this way. Just line up the holes. We're going to use the 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws. Thankfully we got some more in this parts pack, so that's good because I ran out. Okay, so then we're going to put another one right here, and then the other clip, where is it? Exactly the same way. You're going to have it facing the same way with the open end, and it's going to go on these two holes right here. All right, so let me get all of those put on, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so now those clips are in place. So this whole thing is going to go inside now. You'll notice these little lugs, the way they're shaped. Those are going to fit onto those holes down there. Now you'll notice how they're keyhole shaped. So this is going to go in, and then you'll push it down, and then it'll lock it in place. So let's try to get this in here. There'll be a lot of stuff connected to this piece. Okay. See if I can, oh, those went right on. Okay, so now let's see if I can push it down. Ah, there we go. All right, so now that is locked in place. Oh, that's a good solid connection right there. That's great, because we're going to be pushing a lot of wires down into all those connectors. So, all right, that looks very, very good. All right, well, there we go. That completes stages 91, 92, 93, and 94. I've only got 2 more parts packs left, and we're almost done. This one was huge. This was a huge one. Look how much we got done on this. Got his legs all put on now. Got the whole bottom section done. His middle leg is finally finished. We got the battery pack. I'm still charging the batteries. Those take a long time to charge, so just make a note of that. When you are going to be charging those batteries, you've got to do them one at a time. This whole section in here is insane. On the next parts pack, we're going to be plugging in all the wires that go into that. That's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be difficult to film that, but that's going to be a crazy amount of wiring in there. Wow, this is pretty cool. He's looking like R2-D2 now. Look at that. That's so cool. All right, well, anyway, I hope you're enjoying this build series, and if you are, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And I thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, I'll see you then. So thanks again, and have a good one.